All right, what's up, everybody? It's been a little bit since we've done a video. Just had a million things going on and haven't had time to stop and take videos. We're trying to get everything ready for spring. Mrs. G's on spring break from her job, so she gets to work every day for a week for me, right?
No, I'm going shopping one day.
Well, one day she's going shopping. So today, all the mid-rollers, she painted all of them, I don't know, a week ago or so, and I painted the undercarriage. It turned out really nice. So what we're doing is she's going through with a wire wheel and cleaning all the rust out of there, and then I'm following behind her and driving in new races. So this side of them are all done, and then she runs a thread chaser. She's run a tap through each one of the holes for the caps. It's just a tedious job. She got herself with the wire wheel this morning. Show your leg. Yeah.
We got it pretty good under there. With this beauty.
Yeah, it happens.
Yep.
It happens, but all new races, bearings, dual cone seals. It's like $2,000 right there, just in bearings and seals. But hopefully we don't have to mess with it again. So we're gonna finish getting these mid rollers cleaned up, and then we'll go through and clean all of this really good where the dual cone seal goes in there. Obviously, we won't put the outside mid rollers on. We'll put the inside ones on so the track can slide in there easier. But we'll I'll show you. I'll get the dual cone seals in. Show you how I do that and how to torque up one of the mid rollers, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody. We're back on this, finishing up this cat project. Me and Mrs. G today are putting the tracks back on, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. We got the other side on. We got this one to this point and figured better video and show you. Once you get the track positioned where you want it and slid up to the tractor with the forklift, it's really not bad. It's just a matter of taking the forks and getting them like right here on the track. And you just got to keep lifting and trying to get those drive lugs over this drive wheel. Once you get the back over it, you're in good shape, but you just got to keep taking the forklift and moving farther ahead. And all the slack on the track that you have back there, what we do is, or what we've been doing is we just take the forks under it and then just use the side shift to keep pushing the track ahead. But you got to play the game with jacks, getting it jacked up right, because you got to have enough room to push those lugs under that drive wheel. So we have air jack under the drawbar, but then when you get up here, you got to be able to have the front end raised up enough so we put the inside mid rollers on. They have to be able to clear, so that one's clear, but this front idler isn't. So now we got to jack up the front. So that I've got those two drum jacks or whatever you want to call them. So we'll lift the front up a little bit here, And then I'll be able to take and slide the track all the way on. You want to hold it, Mrs. G?
I got it.
Should be enough. Now, you just want to film it up. Oh, I have to open the garage door, but I'll see if I can side shift it up. All right, you see how we have it? Now it's on that idler, and all the mid rollers are pretty much up to the drive lugs. So all it comes down to now is we'll side shift that little bit of slack forward enough to where we can bolt this outer wheel on, and we'll bring it back. These dual cone seals, they kind of suck. So anybody that doesn't know, it's like metal on metal machined together, and that's what makes your seal. So it's pretty delicate. Mrs. G, I'm gonna need you over here. As I told you before, you go squirrel away. She squirrels a lot. It's just here, there, and everywhere.
Squirrel is
You.
this?
So before anybody starts piping up saying I'm not doing it right, whatever, this is the cat manual. I got the actual installation tool for this style dual cone. I tried one without it, and no. So you put it in the tool, and then you submerge it in isopropyl alcohol, and then you just push it in with the tool. I'll show you, but there's like a lip. I don't know if the camera will show it. There's a lip in this hub, and then there's a lip on the axle shaft side on the track frame. This little lip is what holds the rubber seal in there. So you just want to make sure that's good and clean, and there's not like any nicks in that lip. Mrs. G.
Sorry, I'm not the filming.
Yeah. All right, so here's the tool. You put the metal part in that groove right there, and then you just clamp it shut so it's holding the metal part up from the rubber part at the right height. Then just dunk it in a container with some isopropyl alcohol in it. You're not supposed to use any like oil or petroleum based stuff. You just set it there, and just as easy as that. You just pop it in till it stops. Then unclip this. And then since these are matched, matched sets, you don't want to use this for one of the other mid rollers. So this half is what goes on the track frame now. So, and then that's how they seal. They just have constant pressure against each other. But when you're ready to throw it up on the machine, you take something that's like lint free. It's got like a oil, like a machine oil on both sides to keep it from rusting at the factory. But you want to clean both sides, then make sure they're dried off, and then you take some of this 30 weight SAE 30 oil and just put a light coat around them. But we'll throw this mid roller on the machine, and I'll show you how you torque it down and everything. All right, so once you have the mid roller back up on there, push it on. You got a bearing, then a washer, then a lock collar washer, then one of these nuts. Your other half of your dual cone seal, you use that installer and put it in there. But once you have it snugged up by hand, I had this 4-prong axle nut socket. I just had to grind it down to get it to fit this nut right. But 30 foot-pounds is what they say. So they say to torque it and then spin it 3 revolutions or so. And then they say to do it again. And then you just gotta find whichever one of these tabs is closest. I don't want to loosen it off, so here, can you see that, Mrs. G? So I'm going to tighten it a little more to get to that next one. See how it's lined up with it now? So just take and bend that. And then that locks that, stakes that nut to where it can't back off. Then you just put the cap back on. We've been using just a Loctite 515 flange sealant. Put that back on, and then you fill all of them up. There's a plug in the center of the cap. Fill it till it comes out with SAE 30. Mrs. G already changed the oil in those. What I'm using, well, Mrs. G broke it, but what I was using this pump that goes on a gallon jug. So this goes on there, and yeah, this is supposed to be attached to this. Mrs. G's a little hard on stuff, but that hose fit in there perfect. So if I can't fix this, I also have over here this thing, it's like a turkey baster thing. Put that in the cap and push oil in. we'll probably end up using that. The paint's all dusty, but man, this paint turned out really nice on this undercarriage. You don't realize how worn down the other tracks were until you see the new meats on there.
Yeah, they were like dry rot.
So I just got to put the last two mid rollers on, fill them all up with oil, and then hook up the charge hose to the hydraulic remote. Hook it up to this cylinder. Tension the tracks. I'll probably show you doing that, but already flushed the coolant twice, changed the upper and lower hoses, fixed the fitting that was leaking there. I don't remember what else. Oh, still got to put the back two motor mounts in. Once it's off the jacks, I'll use one of those jacks to support the back of the motor to change that. I don't remember anything else. Did we do anything else to it?
Put the grill back.
Oh yeah, we painted the grill. Mrs. G painted that and put it back in. So it's about ready to go. We got to put a Midland radio in it, two-way radio, and should be able to hook it up to the field cultivator. So I'll bring it back when we tension the tracks.
Yeah.
All right, got all the mid rollers on, ready to tension these tracks up. I got this charging hose set up correctly with the pressure gauge. First thing that you do is this hose here is the bleed hose. I just extended it with some clear tubing into a bucket. This top bolt is the bleed bolt, which you need to let the air purge out from us detensioning the tracks. So you open that one, and then once we have the tractor started, then we'll slowly open this one up. That's the charge port. Use this lever to isolate it, but you start charging it until all the air bubbles in the oil are gone coming out of the bleed port, and then you close that one up. Let the tractor tighten the track, and then we'll shut this valve here and turn the tractor off, and then we'll check the I'll show you how you check the accumulator charge pressure. The hose is just hooked into the left port there of number one. I'll set you guys up and I'll start the tractor up and we'll do the first step.
All right, I don't have my mic on here, but so if you were watching that clear hose, once the track started tensioning and all the air bubbles came out of that, I shut the bleeder on top, and the fill valve is still open, and I isolated it right here by turning this valve, shutting it, so that's why we're still showing pressure. I put the hydraulic remote in the tractor in float, so that took the pressure off from here. We're gonna do a slow bleed off. We're just gonna crack this valve and watch the gauge, and when it hits a sudden, it'll go down slow and then it'll hit a sudden drop. Wherever the last pressure was right before it dropped is what your accumulator charge is. So we're at like 1800. $17. $16. $1,500. See where it dropped off right after 1,500. So the book says the nitrogen pressure should be between 1,450 psi and 2,000. So still above 1,450. It's just on the lower end. I already did the other side and it was at like 1,600. So wasn't having any track tension problems or track tension alarms or anything like that. It was just all the tracks and mid rollers were worn out. So now the final step is start the tractor back up, push the hydraulic remote, pull it, or not push, pull it back like in the raised position, open that valve back up, and you let it charge, like tension the track for a minimum of 90 seconds. And then you close off this valve and check your pressure. All right, hydraulic remote is in float. Now we just want to look at our pressures. It says 2,750 psi plus or minus. So we got plenty of charge in the track cylinder. So now can tighten this fill valve up. Sure this one's good. Since the tractor's in float, can bleed the pressure off. That's just bleeding the pressure off from there to there. And then you're done. The next step, or the final step, is you got to make sure, it's hard to show it, that these guide blocks are centered between this idler and the other idler. So it says to take it out and drive it in a straight line and let it coast to a stop and then shut it off and measure the distance from here to here, and the same on the other side of it. If it needs to move, there's this bolt, there's one on each side. Like if you wanted, if the track was running too far that way, you would like loosen this one a quarter turn and tighten the one on the other side a quarter turn to push it this way. But I think that's that on this video. I'm gonna get the jacks out under it. It's incredibly crappy out today. Looking at the ditch there, we have gotten a bunch of rain. It's supposed to keep raining, so I'm not gonna go drive it outside or do that adjustment. So I might change the engine mounts in the back, put the radio in it, the two-way radio, wash it all off, and this one should be ready to go to the field. Another one off the list. I appreciate everybody watching. I noticed that on the analytics, like 70% of the viewers aren't subscribed. I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the sub button. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.